Hey everybody, welcome back. Here we are in week 2 where we're focusing on Marie de France. Now this is our introductory lecture where we'll focus on the material, the form, and the context. That gives us some contextual information about Marie. And we're going to start with material, meaning the manuscript that we have of Marie's Lays, and we'll focus on that. So if you have not yet gone over to the British Library website, where you can see images of Marie de France's Lays, which is linked to on Oaks, pause the video, go back and spend around 60 seconds or so just kind of paging through these images and seeing what you can notice about the manuscript of these Lays. See what stands out to you. All right, once you're done with that, you can come back here, and I want to ask us what you notice about this manuscript. Now, a good point of comparison may be the Beowulf manuscript from last time. I'll quickly flash to that so we can remember what it looks like. If we compare the Beowulf manuscript with the manuscript that we have of Marie de France's Lays, we can notice some striking differences. First of all, here we have color. We have, these blue and red ornamentations on the side. We have what is called a historiated letter, or a letter that has been kind of illustrated for visual appeal and effect. We also have what appears to be a lot more attention to the visual form of the manuscript more generally. This is a beautiful object to look at. It's pleasing to the eye, unlike Beowulf, which seemed to be just kind of written down in no-nonsense terms. So one of the things that probably tells us about this manuscript is that it was meant to be read. It was meant to be sat down with. It was meant to be something that you looked at, unlike Beowulf, which was probably meant for someone learning a script so they could perform it. Another feature that we notice of this manuscript image right here is that it's another language that we don't quite recognize. Now, this is not Old English. It's not the same language that Beowulf is written in. This is an early form of French. But yet again, we're not quite in the realm of an English that we can recognize in our own modern day. I'll be talking more about why this manuscript is in French, why the story is in French, when we get to the form and context sections of this week's lecture. So we'll come back to that. Another key feature that this manuscript tells us is more about the authorship of them. Now, remember last week we talked about how manuscripts allow us the opportunity to be archaeologists. They tell us things about the text. They tell us things about the author. And so literary historians depend on manuscripts to reconstruct histories that we may not otherwise have. And one key feature of this manuscript is that the author names herself at the end of one of her fables, where she says, and you can see this line right here is what we're talking about, and it's transcribed below in this form of Anglo-Norman or French. And then, let's see, I want this bar to go away. Yes, Marie is my name, and I am from France. That is all we know about this author. She names herself, and she says, my name is Marie, Marie is my name, and I am from France. So the name Marie de France is born from this line. This is really intriguing because, first of all, that's very little information that we have about Marie, but also it wasn't very common at the time for authors to identify themselves in manuscripts. I mean, of course, we have Beowulf, anonymous. Even in Marie's time period, which is a few centuries later, a lot of authors did not name themselves or disclose who was writing something in a manuscript. It was common for writing to be anonymous, for authors just to kind of go under the radar. Marie, however, names herself. So it's really quite striking that Marie claims ownership of these lays and the fables. She says, I'm the writer, and I want you to know who I am. So this is a really kind of fascinating and crucial part of this manuscript that tells us just a little bit about who Marie was. I'll be talking more about her likely culture and context in the context section. But for now, this is the manuscript section, or the material section, and I'm just going to take a pause and we can pick back up in the form section.